Shut up.
I just wanted to say hi to
Shut up. Face the wall. Turn around. Turn around. Let's do the movement, sir. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Yeah. And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And just guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that
This wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
Joe Rogan reacts to rumors surrounding the alleged arrest of Jake Paul over claims that his boxing matches were scripted. Rogan emphasizes that no achievement or career milestone is worth risking one's life. He cautions that the dangers of boxing are very real and should never be taken lightly. According to reports, Rogan believes Paul needs to seriously rethink his choices before returning to the ring, warning that chasing fame or money through dangerous fights is not worth the possible consequences.
Then you can't think, you can't do things, you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life. It's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think.
Nikisa Bidarian clarified that neither Jake Paul nor his team engaged in any wrongdoing or attempted to rig the fight. He directly addressed the widespread rumors claiming the bout with Anthony Joshua was scripted, calling them completely false. According to Bidarian, people online made shocking claims, including suggestions that there was an agreement for Joshua not to knock out Paul. He explained that Joshua fought honestly and decisively, ignoring any alleged arrangement. Bidarian emphasized that Jake trained seriously, competed legitimately, and took real risks inside the ring. He also stated that legal action is being pursued against those spreading these false narratives. For Bidarian, setting the record straight is essential to protect the reputations of Jake and his team, making it clear to fans and critics alike that the fight was real, unscripted, and that any idea of a fixed outcome is entirely baseless.
Script, rigged, this, that, and the other. Do you think now, at the very least, that talk goes away? Broke his jaw, went in there against Anthony Joshua. At the very least, do you think that you guys can move on from that? Like, that won't follow you?
No, I don't. I actually... our lawyers are actively going after a number of people. One who claims to be a lawyer himself online. I don't remember the name or the handle, but it was something that had like 200,000 likes. And basically this post said there was an agreement for AJ not to knock out Jake, but AJ disregarded the agreement and decided to not get his payday, but knock out Jake Paul. So it's pretty astonishing what people say. Your dear friend Lou DiBella, saw him put up a bunch of ridiculous things and even said, Nikisa, go ahead and sue me, but this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
And so for the people, again, just to clear this up, because I asked Eddie this question, I'll ask you the exact same question. Once and for all, was there any sort of arrangement as far as it should go this many rounds? Because that's the one that I've heard. Oh, Anthony agreed to 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Can you tell us in black and white if there were any talks of any kind between the network, the promotion, the fighter?
There has never once in Jake Paul's career been any talk of that sort, of anything to do with the fight being anything but a real fight that has exactly the same situation as any professional fight. And that's exactly the same thing here for the Anthony Joshua fight. It's just beyond mind-blowing that people would think that. Anthony Joshua was on record saying that if he didn't finish him in the first round, that would be disappointing, that it would be a failure. The narrative changed as we got closer to fight night and obviously post-fight, and I understand why, but they were pretty adamant it would take max.
Joe Rogan has already warned Jake Paul not to repeat anything reckless like this. He strongly urged him to think twice before taking on high-risk boxing matches, emphasizing that no career milestone is worth putting one's life in danger. Rogan highlighted that the dangers inside the ring are very real, and chasing fame or money through staged or dangerous fights can lead to serious consequences. He concluded that safety and responsibility must always come first for any fighter.
Of choice he was on, there's no coming back from that. The people who dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get a second set. So if I'm not mistaken, the dude from Mighty Ducks, somebody he's been clean and they gave him a makeover and he has pretty much fake teeth. So yeah, the teeth are gonna be cooked. Now, I agree with the other part that Rogan was saying, but let's keep going.
Yeah, I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen. Yeah. And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah, and I've already expressed my thoughts on this. I'm not giving no props for a person who says I am a real deal boxer because I went in and get smashed and got my jaw broken, but I lasted longer than Ngannou. But I was crazy enough to try. Because, to be honest, we're way past the honeymoon stage with a person like Jake Paul. You've been in this for long enough to go through fight camps, dedicate your time, effort, energy, money, spar with people. You spar with some quality names because you have resources and money or whatever. So we're well past that, to the point where you just get credit for stepping in. You maybe got credit your first fight or whatever, first couple of fights, for coming from your background and, you know, stepping in and fighting, but we're well past that. You have a box rec. You were being ranked by...
Eddie Hearn offered a detailed breakdown of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, highlighting the precise planning behind every movement in the ring. He explained that the bout unfolded exactly according to strategy, with Joshua's team focusing on patience and controlled aggression rather than reckless exchanges. The goal was to methodically break Jake Paul down by exposing weaknesses and draining his stamina before landing decisive shots. Hearn stressed that this calculated approach represents true professional boxing, where discipline, timing, and tactical execution matter more than raw power. Each phase of the fight was designed to maintain control while steadily asserting dominance, proving that smart strategy often outweighs sheer strength. According to Hearn, this performance not only secured the victory but also showcased boxing as an intelligent, strategic contest, where measured execution and calculated decisions define champions and clearly separate experienced fighters from novices.
What he did, I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds. But, you know, when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just, you know, anywhere, arms. I got in, he went, what are you rushing me for? And I was like, oh, sorry. So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing, and actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random, I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mom said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She is promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, you know. But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad, because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, you know. And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight, because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round. Yeah. So, no, I give Jake respect. And, sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me, but if she can send me a free...
Adam Catterall delivered a direct and candid assessment of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, highlighting the imbalance modern boxing faces when popularity begins to shape matchups. He argued that Jake Paul's rapid rise in the sport is driven far more by social media influence and celebrity appeal than by genuine technical skill or in-ring experience. According to Catterall, even while holding back his full power, Anthony Joshua showed exceptional control, timing, and precision, landing shots that caused real damage and clearly exposed the gap in class between the two fighters. This contrast fueled speculation that parts of the fight may have been shaped by external pressures rather than pure sporting competition. Rumors suggested that Jake Paul may have tried to influence the pace of the bout to reduce risk and preserve appearances, reflecting wider concerns about celebrity boxing prioritizing spectacle over authenticity. Catterall's remarks underline how hype-driven matchups can undermine competitive integrity, shifting the focus away from skill, strategy, and the traditional values that define professional boxing.
Where I'm not hurting you as much as what I could if I unleashed. Yeah. And with the punch that you said that he landed, it's not his best punch, his most powerful punch, right? Yep. And he's shattered his jaw in 2 places, right? So Anthony Joshua gets his 70 million, whatever it is. But I think he's sitting there thinking, thank God for that. Thank God. On a human level, I've come out, all right, I've sort of, not reputation, but I haven't hurt him as bad as what I could have.
There should be an awful amount of people breathing a massive sigh of relief. Anybody that put that fight together, athletic commissions, like you said,
it wasn't a fight.
No, it wasn't at all. Like you said, it was a prize fight. It was an event. If Anthony damages him, he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of stress to deal with, you know what I mean? So I'm sure he's bleeding in the side of relief. The team that have put him in there, that have negotiated that for him, but the authorities that put that on and commissioned it as a proper boxing match, I've no doubt.
Does that go on his? Because
yeah, it's a professional boxing.
Do you know what? If I was Joshua, I would be saying I don't want that on my record. But for the credibility of them putting the fight on, they would have said to him, "No, we've got to say this. It's been commissioned. It's going to be a proper fight." And I found it. I love my boxing, but I just find the whole thing really, really unedifying. You said about get followers. You mentioned Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is nowhere near his level of getting like a British title fight or whatever. Nowhere near. So it's basically he's like
beat Jake Paul.
Well, beat Jake Paul. But so
but what I'm saying is that's 100. I stand by that, and I think Tommy would admit that. You know,
Sam Jones delivered a candid and unfiltered reaction to the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, saying the bout was difficult to watch not because of brutal exchanges, but due to the obvious technical shortcomings on display. He noted that Jake Paul struggled with fundamental elements of boxing, including basic defense, proper footwork, and timely reactions to Joshua's combinations. These repeated flaws created a constant imbalance throughout the fight, clearly exposing the gap in experience and skill. Some observers felt certain sequences looked almost choreographed, as if the action was subtly guided to limit risk for either fighter. While Jake Paul clearly put in serious training, Jones suggested that the mismatch in talent and ring intelligence, along with perceived hints of controlled pacing, made the fight feel uncomfortable for viewers expecting true competitive tension. The bout highlighted the dangers of blending celebrity appeal with professional-level boxing, showing how spectacle can sometimes overshadow skill and authenticity, leaving fans questioning the legitimacy of contests where entertainment and performance intersect so visibly.
Jake Paul's. Joe, just talk to me right now about the fight itself and then we'll break it down.
Bit of a crap fight, if we're all honest. It was like watching Jaws 2 when all the kids went out on their boats and they were in the middle of the sea and the shark was just surrounding the boat, just like that's what it was like. It was like a shark circling its prey and just like it was like nibbling and eventually got him. But Jake Paul showed big plums in there, no matter what anybody says about him, because I've seen people say, yeah, he went in there to survive. Yeah, okay, he went in there to survive. He's a guy that's been boxing a couple of years against a unified champion of the world who can really punch. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best fight. It just wasn't the best thing to watch, was it? Like it was just, it weren't great. I just want to see now Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. I think at the stages of their careers they're at, AJ and Tyson Fury, we don't need to see interim fights, Andrew. We don't need to see interim fights because they're just potential banana skins. We want to see two of the best.
Following the fight, Luke Thomas emerged as a critical voice in the aftermath, questioning the largely positive attention Jake Paul received. He stressed that stepping into the ring with a world-class fighter like Anthony Joshua should not be praised without serious scrutiny. Thomas argued that the spectacle surrounding the bout overshadowed the very real dangers involved. Some observers speculated that Paul's pre-fight confidence, along with certain in-ring moments, seemed to align with rumors suggesting attempts to influence parts of the fight. Thomas warned that celebrating such contests sets a dangerous precedent, blurring the line between entertainment and genuine competition.
Him being perhaps a little bit better than we sometimes think, although I don't really co-sign on that. Let me make the point. The first point is, I think people are overreacting a little bit. People were suggesting when I got on social media that this was like the biggest farce they'd ever seen in their life, and that this was, how could he fight like this, and this was a disaster, and Joshua should have got him out there earlier. There is probably some evidence to suggest that I don't think Joshua was carrying him in the sense of, hey, they coordinated this ahead of time. But was Joshua really stepping on the gas? No, I don't think he was really stepping on the gas. There were times I think he clearly pulled his punches, partly because Jake was squirmy and rotating on the outside. Also in part because I think, as I indicated on Friday, he's watching this guy with pretty bad footwork. He was literally tripping over himself, and he realized he just can't keep this up. So there was that. But people were acting like, how could this be? How could this have happened? Guys, on Friday's MK, and then before that, earlier in the week on Submission Radio, they asked me on Submission Radio, how do you think he's gonna fight? And I'm like, he's gonna run. And they're like, you don't think he's gonna clinch? I'm like, okay, he'll clinch at times, but then the rest of the time, he's going to run. What did you, like, what other way was this going to go? What other way was...
Chael Sonnen voiced sharp criticism of the match, emphasizing that fights like this are far too dangerous to take place under normal circumstances. He described the contest as feeling less like a genuine boxing competition and more like a survival scenario, where both physical and reputational stakes were alarmingly high. Sonnen pointed out that inexperienced fighters stepping into the ring with elite professionals put themselves in life-threatening situations. The alleged scripting by Jake Paul, combined with such high-risk matchups, only magnifies the problem. According to Sonnen, the culture of blending celebrity with sport jeopardizes the integrity of boxing while unnecessarily endangering participants. Analysts observed that Jake Paul's approach during the fight appeared unusually cautious at times, raising questions about his intentions. While some viewed this as a careful strategy, others speculated that certain moments seemed choreographed to allow Joshua to dominate without excessive risk, reportedly aligning with rumors that Paul attempted to control the pacing and sequences to protect himself while maximizing entertainment value.
Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there, and he was moving as such. He was staying away from him. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this athletic competition, and then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. I mean, he was fighting. Then it turns to where he can't stay away anymore. So now he's got to go the other way. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting to double leg positions. He was fighting. These guys were Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So on the back end, some of the comments that I made or that I had heard were so confusing to me. It was a very good competition. I will tell you, it breaks my heart too that Anthony Joshua can't get him out of there in one round. Dave Portnoy had made a comment before the fight. He said, I like Jake. I wish well for Jake. Of course I'm taking Joshua. And then Portnoy made his point. And he said, because I believe in boxing. This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua's more experienced or better. I believe in boxing. I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion.